now we know who that woman was at the post-ending scene in Red Colony. It's the same black woman Jill even mentions as well. Her name is Nicole. And yes, both of these are Nicole. For this one I only played the physical Nintendo Switch version published by ElgatoHD60s and nothing else. But like the first one, there also is a digital Switch version that was developed by Shimotsuji Storm and released by Shinyuden towards mid-2021. Towards late 2021, an uncensored version was released for PC, and I assume it will have the same added stuff the first game had. This time around, instead of playing as Maria, who was the head of LAB, now you play as Nicole, a prostitute from the Blue Colony that infiltrated into the Red Colony, released the virus, and caused all kinds of chaos before returning home. Because fuck the Red Colony! For some reason. But why would a prostitute do that? Well, because supposedly the government is holding her daughter hostage, and they will kill her if Nicole doesn't do what they want. The lesson here is, don't try to live on Mars because the Martian government will try to take you hostage. But as we've seen at the end of the first game, even the Blue Colony is now also fucked with its zombies, but this time around, even raptors are on the loose. So if you thought the Red Colony had it bad, oh boy, then you haven't seen the Blue Colony yet. While Nicole technically achieved her main goal with her mission on the other side, once she returns, she has other stuff to deal with. For one, the zombies are on the loose. Then raptors are also on the loose, and they are more dangerous than the zombies. And now she also has to find out who actually took her daughter from her, why her son had to go to jail, and how the hell she's gonna survive in the Blue Colony. Without spoiling too much, this is basically it, and just like the first game, there is a bit more story to tell than simply surviving against zombies and raptors. The main drama issue here is about the relationship between Nicole and her son that went to jail because he saw her own mother getting raped 5 years prior, or so he thought, and he did something about it. But just like Maria, Nicole isn't all that great of a mother either, and no, it's not because she is a professional of the streets, even though that's bad enough. You will see why if you see one of the 2 ending dialogues in the game at the end, at least the 2 that I could find, and read these diary entries, I guess, that talk about Nicole's events before she infiltrated the Red Colony. What I really like about these 2 games, among a few other things, is that the heroines ultimately aren't saints at all, and that just adds flavor to the game. Of course, initially you are rooting for Maria and even Nicole, and sure, while you still want to see them survive at the end, if you pay attention to their story, then you won't really mind as much if they die. At least I didn't. But that also depends which ending you consider to be the real ending. You know, just like Maria did die in the first game, and yes, Nicole will as well in this one. But I don't know what is worse, dying by the hands of a zombie or dying in space. However, I'm a bit unsure about Nicole because we don't see her dying at all. We only see her in space and then it cuts to the credits followed by a post-ending scene while we actually see Maria die in that rocket in the first game. Or at least turned into a zombie. Oh yeah, Red Colony 2 also has a post-ending scene, and I will assume this Mina will be our main character in the 3rd and final game. Well, maybe. The side characters and the whole story are a bit more fleshed out in this one, and yes, the whole story about zombies and dinosaurs as started in the previous game was enhanced here a bit more, and thus it makes a bit more sense, so Shimotsuji Storm really planned this out quite nicely and improved by quite a bit as well. Visually the game is also more appealing to look at with titties and stronger colors. In this area it's even like neon colors, especially once you enter the sexes. Oh yeah, the sexes! Because there are only 2. I mean, just look at these moves! Nicole is rocking it out, man! There is a bit more interesting stuff to discover in the background. If you backtrack to certain areas, they actually change because zombies and raptors actually are on the loose. Also, the dialogue changes for some characters in Neon Street, as I call it. Even she changes costumes. The characters were drawn a bit better overall, but still there are a few issues with the proportions, and even Maria's design was reused. And this time around, Nicole has to be a bit more ruthless than Maria herself, as you can see here. Bitch doesn't give a shit! Well, okay, maybe I could have gone around without killing him, but I thought it would be more fun this way. So maybe I am the asshole, but fuck it. There is even a poster of Maria and Jill from the Red Colony for some reason. Maybe the Blue Colony inhabitants are fans or something? Is this Maria as well? And yes, Knife Boy also makes an appearance, so somebody play that fucking game! Personally though, I prefer the slightly darker and less futuristic setting of the first game. Also, just like the first game, the music is very minimalistic and it fits the vibe the game is going for well. Again, outside of this area where you can rock it out. Now, the actual gameplay. Yes, it's still ragdollish, but easy to adapt. The grid is the same, just with a few new things replaced or enhanced. You can unlock new costumes, and yes, in the post-ending scene in the first game, both chicks are actually Nicole, but in the grey costume or in the police costume. This time around, you don't have a knife but a baseball bat that will break after a while. These are just to change the cover of your wrist gear. 3D printers are slightly different here, but essentially do the same thing. However, the old printers make a cameo, which was a nice touch. And yes, this means Blue Colony is more advanced than the Red Colony. You have maps that you can download to help you out a bit, and some other stuff. Since the baseball bat breaks, this adds a bit more challenge to the game, forcing you to decide if you are gonna fight or just hide, which enhances the survival aspect, which was something missing in the first game. But still, Red Colony 2 could have been even more survival than this, with even less ammo or a weaker weapon than the bat, because the game is still a bit too easy, even with the raptors that will instantly kill you and you cannot kill. There still is Red Colony 3 though, so who knows.
Nicole, ありがとう。いいのよ。そこを出る前に危険がないかちゃんと確認してね。
You know what? I will take care of Red Colony 3 in a different video. But from the first two games, Red Colony 2 overall is the better game. But I will admit, I prefer Maria a bit more as a character. There's also a bit more backtracking and the puzzles are a bit harder here, but still, you should be done with it in about 3 hours max the first time around.